All right, welcome back, everybody, to SAT Reading Crash Course Day 2, Part 2. We're coming back from a little break. We got Caden with us. We're still working on this passage on social structuring. We've got 2 questions here. These are graph questions, though. And I'm going to teach you my strategy for approaching the graph questions. Let's jump right into it. Rock and roll. Go ahead and read question number 18 for me, please, Caden.
All right. Which statement best summarizes the information presented in the graph?
Ooh, okay. Which statement best summarizes the information presented in the graph? Now, there's a graph here. Where is it? It is down. No, it is up. This graph right here. Okay? So before we answer graph questions, I highly recommend that we use this graph analysis method. It's the same method I use actually for the writing and language section, and interestingly also for the math section, because you see lots of graphs and charts in all those sections. And here's what I recommend you do. Always start with the title. Okay? We're just going to give you sort of an overview of what the chart's about. Then study the axes, the y-axis going up and down, and the x-axis going left and right. See what they're labeled. Look at the units on the axes. Study those. Look for a key, if there's a key or any other information. We see some other information right around here and right up here at the top. And then very lastly, Caden, do you look at the data in the graph? Lastly, look at the bars and the points on the graph, and then try to draw some conclusions and look for trends. Lastly.
Okay.
Most students, when they see a graph or chart, they just start looking at the data points immediately until they realize they have no idea what they're looking at or the significance of any of it. So start with the significance of it, and you're going to get that from the title and the axes. And then lastly, look at the data. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so go ahead and read. We'll start with the title here of this graph. Read that line.
Okay. Global digital information created and shared, 2005 through 2015.
Okay, global digital information created and shared. Okay. And then what's the y-axis going up and down?
Numbers. Just
Yes,
like how many
many
zettabytes?
Read the whole thing for me, because it's labeled real specifically.
1 zettabyte. Oh, digital information created and shared in
Good.
zettabyte.
There you go. There's the amount of information created and shared in zettabytes. Ranges from 0 to 8 zettabytes, whatever zettabyte is. I think they'll tell us here in just a minute. Go and read the x-axis going left and right.
All right. That is just years of from 2005 to 2015.
Yeah, we've got the years there, right? And then it's like, notice there's a space between the labeled years, but that's just, like 2005, then the blank is 2006, then 2007, the blank is 2008. Right. I don't know why they don't include them all, whatever, they just don't. Is there a key or any other information we need to study?
I don't believe so.
Well, there's no key, but notice below the graph it says here that 1 zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes, which is a lot. Right.
Yeah,
and then there's also this sort of like introduction or like this little like just note here. Go and read that note, the following graph.
All right, the following graph from a 2011 report of the International Data Corporation projects trends in digital information use to 2015.
All right, and then it says E is estimated. That's what that E means, right? E is
right.
Estimated. The first estimated year here is 2013. So that makes sense because this is a report from 2011. So all the years in the future are estimated. Okay. All right, good. Now let's go back to the question. Oh, sorry, we haven't looked at the data yet. Lastly, let's look at the data. Do we see any trends in the data, or can we draw any conclusions from the data?
It's growing after about like 2000. I would say around 2011, it really starts to grow. Almost like it grows more rapidly.
Yeah, the growth is accelerating. Mm-hmm. Any other trends?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, it's growing, right? Pretty
yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's good. I mean, that's the big trend, obviously. Let's read question number 18 again and read the answer choices. So, which statement best summarizes the information presented in the graph? Go ahead and read the answer choice A, please.
All right. Far more people around the world own computers and cell phones today than in 2005.
Does that summarize the information presented in the graph?
No.
No, that's laughable. Nothing about... And by the way, is that a reasonable statement on its own?
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For sure. But that's not what it's saying. It's talking about the data. Data bytes.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Go to answer choice B.
The number of people sharing digital information has more than tripled since 2005.
Does that summarize the information presented in the graph?
No.
No, it does not. It's very tempting, man. It's so tempting, but why is it wrong?
Really look at the graph.
Why is it wrong?
Because it's not the data. It's not the amount of people sharing stuff. It's how much data.
It's about how much data is being shared, not the number of people. And B suggests the number of people. Look at the graph again. There's nothing about the number of people sharing information. Nothing.
It's not 8 people.
No. It's the amount of information created shared. You can see why B is very tempting, why a lot of people are going to fall for it. This is such a great test on just like clarity of thought.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is.
Keeps you sharp.
It does, man. I'm a much better reader now than I used to be. I've always been a good reader, but like I don't deal with impressions anymore. A lot of people read, a lot of students read, and they kind of get vague impressions and kind of roll. This forces you to focus on specific ideas and really have a handle on them. So it's not answer choice B. Try answer choice C.
The volume of digital information created and shared has increased tremendously in recent years.
Does that summarize the information presented in the graph?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Dang. Okay. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
Answer choice D.
The amount of digital information created and shared is likely to be almost 8 zettabytes in 2015. It does say that, but that's not what it's summarizing.
There you go. And that's tricky, right? Because D is a true statement. Right? The amount of information shared is almost 8 zettabytes in 2015. I think that's represented in the graph. It is. It's a true statement, but that's not the question. The question isn't, is this a true statement or not? The question is, which statement best summarizes the information presented in the graph?
Yeah, people would see that.
Absolutely.
And totally just skip for
They'd
be like, 8. Oh, it's almost 8. Yeah,
that is done. I have an admission to make, a confession. I totally picked D when I took this test for the first time. I totally picked D. And especially after you've read all the other answer choices, you should have lost sight of the question.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah, you can see how that would happen. You cannot lose sight of the question. It's probably gotten annoying. I hope it has. That I constantly repeat the question when we're testing the answer choices. You need to do the same. And I've seen you do that, which is great. It's a great habit. You cannot lose sight of the question. And if you do, you might fall for something like D.
Gotcha.
Okay. Question number 19. Go and read it for me. You're doing great.
According to the graph, which statement is true about the amount of digital information projected to be created and shared globally in 2012?
Okay. Well, let's test the answer choice here. Go and read A.
All right. Growth in digital information creation and sharing was projected to be widely out of proportion to growth in 2011 and 2013.
Okay. Let's go back. Is digital information created and shared was it projected to be wildly out of proportion to growth in 2011 and 2013?
I wouldn't say wildly out of proportion.
I wouldn't say that either. Because here's 2012.
Yeah.
And I would say it's very much in proportion, right? It's in between 11 and 13. If it's growing every year, it should be in between.
Yeah, for sure.
Can we eliminate it?
Yeah.
Yeah. B.
The amount of digital information created and shared was projected to begin a new upward trend.
Is the amount of digital information created and shared projected to begin a new upward trend in 2012?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Let's keep it.
Yeah, I think I was saying that earlier, that it does kind of seem like around there it starts to really shoot up.
Really accelerate, yeah. Let's keep it. Answer choice C.
The amount of digital information created and shared was projected to peak.
Is that true about the amount of digital information projected to be created and shared in 2012? That's projected to peak.
No.
No, not even close, right?
Oh, yeah.
Come on. You know what peak means here, right?
Yes, like the top of it.
They reach the top, just like the peak is the top of a mountain. Clearly not C. That's real easy.
Yeah, it's definitely still growing.
Yeah. And answer choice D. Go and read it for me.
The amount of digital information created and shared was projected to pass 2 zettabytes for the first time.
Okay, was the amount of digital information created and shared projected to pass 2 zettabytes for the first time in 2012?
No.
Are you looking?
Yes, it did. It did.
Oh. Oh, it did, didn't it?
Well, that's definitely a true statement.
That's a true statement. So we got to pick between B and D.
I would say D because it's set in stone.
There's no question about that, is there?
Yeah.
What's
It says
wrong?
which statement is true?
What's
I mean, that is the
wrong?
truth.
Yes. What's wrong with answer choice B?
Um,
There's something wrong with it.
projected to begin a new upward trend. It doesn't say. Well, I mean, it could go, but it just doesn't.
I have a question for you, Caden. In 2012, do we see the beginning of a new upward trend? In 2012.
It's not the beginning, because the beginning would be at 2006.
Yeah.
Or 2005.
That's the beginning of the upward trend.
Yeah.
It's trending upward here. 2005 through 2009. It's projecting up. It's trending upward 2005, 2007. It's not a new upward trend. You may say it accelerates more. Okay, fine. But that's not the question, right? See, that's the question you answered in your head. You're like, oh, it accelerates more. It's a new upward trend. No. No. It's been trending upward. It's not a new upward trend. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But I love how you're like, you are rock solid certain about D. And at best, like there's some interpretation required for B. So I love the fact that you were able to sort of judge between the two and pick the right one, the one that was more certain, the one that there's more evidence for, very simply. There's no arguing against D.
Yeah.
But do you see
it's a true statement.
Yeah, it's just clearly it's a factual statement. Period.
Right.
And by the way, B isn't factual. It's not a new upward trend. It's an existing upward trend. It's continuing the trend. It's continuing an old trend. It's not a new trend. But you see the importance of not just stopping when you see something you like, because that's going to be the temptation. You're going to like it's going to read B, and they're like, okay, good, I'm good. No. You didn't read C. You didn't read D.
Yeah, I just made a big mental note. Don't stop.
Don't stop. You've got to cycle through the answer choices. Always. We saw this a lot in the math too. I think when we were working on math together, right? And same thing with the writing and language section for that matter too. Always cycle through. Always. Because if you get two that look good, you're missing something. You got to find out what you're missing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. We've got a new passage. Let's jump right into this one. This one is this one's nice and easy. It's real straightforward vocabulary. A couple things, but it's a good read to short read. This one's easy. Let's rock and roll. Let's just practice reading well and answering these questions, looking for evidence in the text. Go ahead and start with the introduction, please.
Understanding how hibernate.
Oh, no. Always. Yes, you've got to read the introduction.
This passage is adapted from Tina Hesman Say, Lessons from the Torpid, 2012 by Society for Science and the Public.
Do you know what torpid means?
No.
Such a great word. Look it up. Torpid is so great. I need to incorporate the word torpid more into my daily.
Heard it before. I just haven't.
Yeah.
Mentally or physically inactive, lethargic.
Yeah, lethargic, lazy, torpid. That's good. How you doing today?
Okay.
I'm torpid. Okay, now let's read. First paragraph.
All right. Understanding how hibernators, including ground squirrels, marmots, and bears, survive their long winters now may one day offer solutions for problems such as heart disease, osteoporosis, and muscular dystrophy.
Yeah,
dystrophy.
Osteoporosis.
I don't know how you
and
they're weird words.
Yeah, those are a little bit complicated. So the real technical here, I don't think knowing these is going to be essential to the meaning of the passage. Just recognize, okay, these are certain, health problems. Okay?
Right.
You don't have to know. But if you're doing untimed work on your own, use this as an opportunity to boost your vocab and just sort of your general understanding of the world. Do you know what osteoporosis is?
No.
No, look it up real quick.
All right.
It's a good word.
A disease in which the density and quality of bone are reduced.
Yeah, I think that osteo prefix means bone in some language, like Greek or something like that. Don't hold me to that. I might have some Greek scholars watching these videos, but I think it's Greek or something. But yeah, so it's a bone. You lose bone density. That's something really, really elderly people deal with, right? You hear about I've like had grandparents that like fall on the sidewalk or something like that. It's always really dangerous, right? Because if they have
Oh yeah,
osteoporosis, like I mean, it can kill them if
yeah, for sure.
because their bone density is so much they have so much less bone density as they age. Muscular dystrophy is an interesting word as well. Look up muscular dystrophy
All right.
or dystrophy in general.
Oh yeah, I actually know a few people that have
Yeah,
this.
it's referred to as well. Is it? No, that's MS is multiple sclerosis. What is it?
Um, Genetic diseases that cause progressive weakness and loss of muscle
Yeah,
mass.
loss of muscle mass, dystrophy.
I believe I know 2 people that have
Yeah,
it.
wow. There's another word I've learned very recently. I didn't even know it was a thing. It's called hypertrophy. And guess what muscular hypertrophy is?
Too much muscle.
An increase in muscle mass. So, like, if you're a bodybuilder, you're going for hypertrophy. So they're actually an opposite of dystrophy as well. So it's hypertrophy. It might be pronounced hypertrophy. I don't know. Anyway, it looks like hypertrophy. All right. Anyway, so we're talking about just health problems here. Let's keep reading.
Okay, nearly everything about the way an animal's body works changes when it hibernates, and preparations start weeks or months in advance. The first order of business is to fatten up.
Great. Keep reading.
Fat is where it's at for hibernators, says Matthew Andrews, a molecular biologist in the University of Minnesota Duluth, who studies 13-lined ground squirrels. You bring your own lunch with you. Packing lunch is necessary because the animals go on the world's strictest diet during the winter, surviving entirely off their white fat. They have their last supper in October. They don't eat again until March, Andrews said.
Okay. All this is pretty straightforward vocabulary, right?
Right.
And this actually, this passage has kind of like a conversational sort of like tone, which is nice and refreshing after some more technical stuff and some stuff from the 1800s. Do you know what a hibernator is or what hibernation means?
Yeah, it's whenever, like, for the winter, they just go and, like, basically go into a deep sleep, almost like a coma.
Yeah. Just want to make sure that was already understood. Yep. Okay. Good. Just make sure. Let's take it from line 19. Right. Bigger fat stores.
Bigger fat stores mean a greater chance of surviving until spring. If they go in really chunky, nice, and roly-poly, that's going to be a good hibernator, he says. Bears also watch their waistlines expand in the months before settling in for the season. The brown bear's cardiologist, Ole Frobert.
OF, yeah. I think it's
OF.
Ole Frobert or something like that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sounds like an ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, I'll have the Ole Frobert, please. Oh, yeah. 2 scoops?
Studies pack on the pounds by chowing down on up to 40 kilograms of blueberries a day. Such gluttony among humans could have had severe consequences. Obesity is associated with a greater risk of heart attack and diabetes, among other ailments.
Any questions about that stuff?
No.
No, it's pretty straightforward. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep reading.
All right. To see how fattening up affects Scandinavian brown bears, Frobert and his colleagues ventured into the wilds of Sweden following signals given off by radio transmitters or GPS devices on tagged bears. Bears can be dangerous close up. Even hibernating bears can rouse to action quickly, so scientists tracking down bears in the winter use darts to tranquilize the animals from a distance. Scientists studying the bears in the summer tranquilize them from a helicopter.
How awesome is that, by the way?
That would be so cool to see.
I think that would be one of the best jobs in the world.
Yeah.
Be the guy in the helicopter.
That would be so fun.
That would be an awesome job. You're basically a sniper.
Yeah,
and then you don't have the guilt of like dealing with like killing anyone.
Yeah,
right?
Just like a.
You're helping nature by shooting it. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
From a helicopter.
Yeah, that just makes it so much cooler.
I think I want a new job. All right.
Yeah.
Let's keep
Once a bear is under the tranquilizer's influence, which takes about 5 minutes, the scientists have 60 minutes max to get the animal from its den, weigh and measure it, draw blood samples, and do minor surgeries to collect fat and other tissues. The bear is returned to its den by minute 61.
Keep reading.
Precious materials collected during this high-pressure encounter need to be analyzed within 24 hours, so the researchers often test for levels of cholesterol or certain proteins in the blood while working in the snow or at a nearby research station. A pilot sometimes flies samples from field sites to a lab in Denmark in order to meet the deadline, Frobert says. samples such as bones and arteries that can't be collected from live bears come from bears killed by hunters during the legal hunting season. Recent analysis revealed that Scandinavian brown bears spend the summer with plasma cholesterol levels. I just lost my space.
Line 60.
High cholesterol. Wait, which line?
Line 60. Plasma cholesterol levels considered high for humans.
Considered high for humans. Those values then increased substantially for hibernation, Frober and his colleagues reported. These very, very fat bears with high cholesterol also get zero exercise during hibernation, lulling in about the den pinches off blood vessels, contributing to sluggish circulation.
I'm going to stop you real quick. I'm guessing you know what words like arteries mean. You know what an artery is?
Yes.
Okay, good. And it's getting to talking about cholesterol, something like fat in your blood.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you have some handle on this, but if you're reading this on your own and you see a word like that you don't know, look it up. I think a lot of students are familiar with some of these, more somewhat technical scientific terms. If you've taken a biology class, it's pretty straightforward. But if you've not seen that before, that's stuff you got to know. Otherwise, you have no idea what they're talking about here. Okay. Lolling about, that's an interesting phrase. You know what that means? To loll about? I bet you can figure it out.
Is it just I don't
Take a guess.
Really kind of just almost just relaxing.
Yeah.
Just not doing
laying
anything.
around, lazing about, rolling around, right? As it's hibernating, right? Lolling about in the den. Pinches off blood vessels, contributing to sluggish circulation. What does sluggish mean here?
Slow.
Slow, yeah.
Dense.
As in a slug, right? So, yeah. Keep going, please.
Okay, that cocktail would be not advisable in humans, Frober says. It's a recipe for hardened arteries, putting people at risk for heart attacks and strokes. Okay. Even healthy young adult humans can develop fatty streaks in their arteries that make the blood vessels less flexible, but the bears don't build up such artery hardening streaks. Our bears, they had nothing, Frober says. It's not yet clear how the bears keep their arteries flexible, but Frober hopes to find some protective molecule that could stave off hardened arteries in humans as well.
What does that last in that last sentence? Could stave off hardened arteries in humans as well. What does that mean? To stave off?
Almost fight off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fend off.
Yeah. Fend off. Prevent. Fight off is perfect, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Any questions about that?
No.
No. That's an easy read, right?
Yeah. Very straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right, then we got a little chart here, but don't even worry about the chart. Don't even look at the chart until I ask you a question about the chart. Then you can look at it. Okay. Let's answer some questions. Okay. Go ahead and read question number 23, please.
All right. The passage is written from the perspective of someone who is.
All right. What's the perspective of the before you even read the answer choices? What's the perspective of the person who wrote the passage?
It was just almost like someone who had just been studying it, giving a talk about how bears work. It's almost documenting Frober.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's test the answer choice here. Go ahead and read answer choice A.
The passage is written from the perspective of someone who is actively involved in conducting hibernator research.
Is the passage written from the perspective of someone who is actively involved in conducting hibernator research?
I don't know if it goes into what they've done. It seems like they know a lot about it. I would say yes.
Caden, is the passage written from the perspective of someone who is actively involved in conducting hibernator research? You said not actively involved. They know about it.
Oh, I get it mixed up between Frober and whoever wrote it.
Okay, we're talking about the person who wrote it. If you look, I'm not saying it's not A, but you got to give me evidence for A. And you just gave me evidence against it. You said, well, they know about it. Do we have any evidence that the author of this passage is actively involved in hibernator research?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it just talks about other people.
We're talking, she's writing about Frober. And this other guy, Matthew Andrews. But do you see any evidence that this author is actively involved in conducting hibernator research?
No.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you went with A, you've still got to test the other answer choices.
Yeah.
But I don't like A. Based on the reasons you gave me.
Now that I see
Okay.
where it comes from, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a tricky question, right? I mean, like, we're not talking about the researchers here. We're talking about the author of the passage. It doesn't appear she's a researcher. Right. Go ahead and read B.
Right. A participant in a recent debate in the field of cardiology.
Is the passage written from the perspective of someone who is a participant in a recent debate in the field of cardiology?
No.
No. Like, what debate?
Yeah,
what debate? That. About cardiology? No.
It might be, but I don't know.
No. I mean, I guess I don't know all the details of this person's life. But there's no evidence for it. Okay, yeah. Just no. Just go ahead and read C.
Knowledgeable about advances in hibernator research.
Is the passage written from the perspective of someone who's knowledgeable about advances in hibernator research? Do we see any evidence that the passage is written from the perspective of someone who is knowledgeable about advances in hibernator research?
I would say almost all.
Say that one more time. Yeah, you cut out for just a little bit. You said almost all of it?
Yeah, I would say almost all of it, especially like the starting sentences. It talks about how important it is to know about this stuff. So that's implying that they do know all this.
Do you see how much more evidence there is for C than there is for A?
Yes.
Okay. You've got it, and you've got to directly address the question. It's C. And man, I got to admit, I have a confession to make. I totally picked A when I first did this test. I totally did it. I fell for it. There's just no evidence for it.
Yeah, I was going to do it too.
I know. Again, C is so much better. Is that clear why? I'm assuming you said yes and cut out. Is that clear why?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Let's try D.
Right. An advocate for wildlife preservation.
Yeah. Is the passage written from the perspective of someone who's an advocate for wildlife preservation?
Possibly, but it
doesn't
say that.
There's no evidence for it.
Yeah, it doesn't talk about the author really at all.
There's just no evidence for it. So we can get rid of D. And C is better than A. Now, again, we've got specific evidence for C in all the passage and none for A. Any questions about that?
No.
Oh man, you got to think really clearly. A sounds so reasonable on the surface, but you got to ask yourself, okay, if I'm going to pick A, what's my evidence for it? You got to find it.
Yeah.
And when you try to find it, you find that you can't find it, which is a problem.
Yeah.
But the whole passage is evidence for C. 21. I totally got this wrong when I first took the test too. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Go ahead and read 21.
It is reasonable to conclude that the main goal of the scientist conducting the research described in the passage is to.
Okay. Let's test the answer choices.
Great. Is to learn how the hibernation patterns of bears and squirrels differ.
Is the main goal of the scientist conducting the research in the passage to learn how the hibernation patterns of bears and squirrels differ?
No.
No. There's just no evidence for that. That's silly. Try B.
Determine the role that fat plays in hibernation.
Is that the main goal of the scientist conducting the research described in the passage? To determine the role that fat plays in hibernation.
Determine the. I wouldn't say it is. It does go into it a little bit.
It does go into it. Mm-hmm.
If that's what they're really learning or wanting to.
You want to keep it?
I would say no.
You're going to get rid of it?
Yeah.
Keep it or get rid of it?
I would say get rid of it.
Get rid of it? Okay.
Because I believe the conclusion of the thing was talking about arteries for people.
All right. Read C.
Okay. Illustrate the important health benefits of exercise for humans.
Is the main goal of the scientist conducting research described in the passage to illustrate the important health benefits of exercise for humans?
It is not the main
It
goal.
is not the main goal. Not even close. I hope D works. Go ahead and read D.
Explore possible ways to prevent human diseases.
It is the main goal of the scientists conducting research in the passage to explore possible ways to prevent human diseases. Did you say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a conclusion.
I agree. Yeah. That's your evidence?
Yeah. I would say that the ending part where it says, Frober hopes to find some protective molecule that could stave off hardened arteries in humans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's good evidence. Now, let's look at 22. Evidence.
Which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question?
Now, I agree with you. That last line.
Look at those first ones.
Well, that last line would be good. 76. But I don't see 76 here. I think that's 76. Yeah, 75 and 76. That's not even an option here.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to have to test the answer choices. We're going to have to. If you saw 75 through 76, I'd say, okay, good. Just pick it. Good. Move on to the next one. But I don't see it. So we're missing something here. Go ahead and read lines 1 through 5.
All right. Understanding how hibernators, including ground squirrels, marmots, and bears, survive their long winter's naps may one day offer solutions for problems such as heart disease and muscular dystrophy.
How's that?
I mean, it does say that it may offer solutions for these problems. So.
Does that match up with D from 21?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty nicely. Let's keep it. Let's try the others, 10 through 13.
All right. That is where it's at for a hibernator, says Matthew Andrews, a molecular biologist at the University of Minnesota. These 13-lined ground squirrels.
How's that?
No.
Not great. 31 through 35?
All right. To see how fattening up affects Scandinavian brown bears, Frober and his colleagues ventured into the wilds of Sweden following signals given off by radio transmitters or GPS devices on tagged bears.
How's that?
No.
But you see why this is tricky? Because 31 through 35, answer choice C for 22, really lines up nicely with B in 21.
Yeah.
You see that? But we've got so much evidence, right, in lines 1 through 5 and at the end of the passage, and I think also other points throughout the passage, that it's really about how it applies to humans.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. That I think that's the main point. So
they do want to trick you there, though.
They're trying to trick you, and I fell for it, man. I totally got 21. I think I got 20, 21, 22 wrong the first time I took this test. Again, I wasn't approaching it the way I approach it now. You know.
Right.
I was doing the read them all for than that one, you know. So, which most, students do. 42 through 46.
Okay.
So, there we go, up at the top.
Once a bear is under the tranquilizer's influence, which takes about 5 minutes, the scientists have 60 minutes max to get the animal from its den, weigh and measure it, draw blood samples, and do minor surgeries to collect fat and other tissues.
How's that?
That doesn't add up.
No, definitely not. No good. Yep, that's it. Awesome. Let's rock and roll. Question 23. Go ahead and read it for me.
All right. What main effect did the quotations by Andrews in lines 10 through 18 have on the tone of the passage?
What do we have to do before we answer this?
Lines 10 through 18.
Yeah, and read those quotations and see what effect those quotations have on the tone of the passage. Go ahead and read it. Read that whole paragraph, 10 through 18.
Okay. What were the 10 through 15?
10 through 18. So it's really that whole paragraph.
All right.
Yeah.
Fat is where it's at for hibernators, says Matthew Andrews, a molecular biologist at the University of Minnesota Duluth who studies 13-lined ground squirrels. You bring your own lunch with you. Packing lunch is necessary because the animals who go on the world's strictest diet during the winter, surviving entirely off their white fat. They have until their last supper in October. They don't eat again until March, Andrews says.
All right. So, what effect do those quotations have on the tone of the passage? You know what tone means here?
Yes, like how that's talked about almost, like the tone of voice.
Like how it sounds. how it sounds, right? We use that word tone in music, right? Like it's not just the pitch of the note, but it's also the tone, like the shape, in a sense, of the sound. Okay. Anyway, all right. So do those quotations. Well, go and read answer choice A.
They create a bleak tone, focusing on the difficulties hibernators face during the winter.
Okay. Do those quotations create a bleak tone, focusing on the difficulties hibernators face during the winter?
Talk about what they do during the winter, but they didn't really say it as a difficulty. They just said, they just kind of sleep.
Yeah, and notice there's two statements here. I mean, one is they create a bleak tone. Do you know what bleak means?
I do not.
Look up bleak real quick. It's a good word.
Land lacking vegetation and exposed to the elements, cold, keen, raw, harsh, wintry.
Yeah, there's only, and this is kind of tricky when you look at definitions, right? I mean, words have some different meanings in different contexts.
Yeah.
But if I plug in like lacking vegetation, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this context, right? But harsh might. And in fact, it does.
Without hope or encouragement.
Yeah, hopeless, harsh. Yes, that's a pretty good definition. So, do they create a hopeless or harsh tone?
No.
No, they're kind of goofy, right? You pack you bring your own lunch with you. That is where it's at for a hibernator. It's not bleak, right? And this is a little bit tricky because the second half is kind of a true statement, right? They focus on the difficulties hibernators face during the winter, right? They have their last supper in October. They don't eat again until March. That's tough. That's tough. That does focus on the difficulties hibernators face. But does it create a bleak tone? No. No. And you only need to test one part. If you just test the first part, the first half, they create a bleak tone. They just don't create a bleak tone. You don't even have to worry about the second half. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Watch out for those half-right ones, man. The students get really thrown off by that. They confirm a half-right one. Oh, that's it. Great. No. Half-right is 100% wrong on the SAT. Okay? Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Cool. Answer choice B. Go and read it, please.
They create a conversational tone relating scientific information in everyday language.
Do those quotations by Andrews create a conversational tone relating scientific information in everyday language?
Yes.
Yes, they do. I don't think there's any debate about that. That is where it's at for a hibernator. Very conversational.
Yeah.
You bring your own lunch with you. Okay. That works.
Yeah.
Let's try C.
Create an ominous tone. Okay, foreshadowing the dire results of Andrew's research.
Do they create an ominous tone? Do you know what ominous means? Do you know what ominous means?
Kind of like creepy, like
spooky, dark, scary, right? Do they create an ominous tone?
No. Totally.
Foreshadowing the dire results. It's about the opposite. Try D.
They create an absurd tone using images of animals acting as if they were human.
Do those quotations create an absurd tone using images of animals acting as if they're human? A lot of kids pick D, man. A lot of them pick D. Why do you think so many kids pick D for this one?
I'm honestly not really sure.
Yeah, okay, maybe. And great. Look, great. If the right answer is just clearly very obvious to you and you can't even consider the wrong one, great. You're thinking in the right terms. A lot of students hear that second half, using images of animals acting as if they were human. They do, right? It talks about the animals packing their lunch.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you see that? They have their last suppers. They're having dinner. They're packing lunches. It does sort of personify, right, to use the English term, personify these animals. They do create images of animals acting as if they were human. Which is kind of an absurd situation. But does that create an absurd tone?
No.
No. Absurd means like nonsensical. It's not nonsense. It makes perfect sense. It's not absurd. If it was putting random words together or making up words that don't exist, I mean, okay, great, absurd, fine. But it's not doing that. Not here. But once again, this is like, half right. Ain't right. Any questions about that?
No.
But I'm glad you were thinking so clearly it didn't even cross your mind that was possible. I think that's a good sign. Go to your question number 24 for me, please.
As used in line 19, stores most nearly means.
I love this question so much. You know what to do here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. So
Okay.
line 19
Line
stores,
19,
and we're plugging in
preservatives.
preservatives. Yeah, okay. Line 19. All right, do it.
Okay. October. They don't eat again until March. Oh, wait, that was the wrong one.
Yeah.
Bigger fat preservatives mean a greater chance of surviving until spring.
How's that?
Preservative? Nah, that's... I wouldn't...
Does that make sense? Greater fat preservatives mean a greater chance of surviving until spring.
It's like... that's like a different thing.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I get rid of it.
Preserves? Ooh, I'm liking... I already like that one.
Yeah, well, let's hear it.
Bigger fat reserves mean a greater chance of surviving until spring.
How's that?
I like it.
Yeah, that works. Okay, let's keep it. Try C. It's my favorite. Oh, did you see C?
I do not. Okay, stacks.
Yes.
Bigger fat stacks mean a greater chance of surviving until spring. Wow.
How great is that? Fat stacks. Some images are coming to mind that I don't want to get into too much detail with. But I like the idea of really anything or anyone having fat stacks. I think that's pretty great. Every once in a while, I am 100% convinced that the writers of the SAT put answer choices in there that they think are hilarious.
Probably. I mean, if I was right.
Exactly right. That's it. If I were writing the SAT, I would totally do that too.
No,
I'd be like, check this out. Answer choice C, fat stacks.
Just like go show all your coworkers.
Yes, I'm 100% convinced it happens. There's some stuff on the writing language section, man. If we ever go over that, I'm telling you, it is a hoot. It is a hoot. But I think that's not an accident here. But sadly, not a correct answer choice.
Too bad.
I have a student who swore that if she saw that answer choice, an answer choice like that she would pick it just because she thought it was funny. And totally accept getting it wrong. I'm not recommending that, but yeah. Be aware. If you find one that like absolutely wonderfully comical like that, it's probably not the right answer. Let's try D. This one's pretty good too.
Great.
Oh, shelters. I'm sorry.
Bigger fat shelters mean a greater chance of surviving until spring.
Yeah. How's that?
That doesn't fit.
No, it doesn't fit. I do like
fat shelters.
I do like the idea of a fat shelter. However, I don't know what that means. That's kind of an absurd idea, but I like it. All right, it is indeed answer choice B. It just works. The others are nonsense. So, we're good?
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll. Question 25. Read it.
All right. Based on the passage, what is Frobert's hypothesis regarding why bears' arteries do not harden during hibernation?
Before we even answer the question or look at the answer choices, do you remember what Frobert's hypothesis is? What's a hypothesis, by the way?
It's like this. It's like the starting of an. It's like an idea of what you think is going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. They call it sometimes an educated guess.
Yeah,
an educated guess. So, what is Frobert's hypothesis, or his educated guess regarding why bears' arteries do not harden during hibernation? Do you remember what it is? Without looking at the answers.
I do not remember what it was.
Remember. Do you remember where he talks about it?
Yeah, I believe it was on the second part of it, kind of almost before like on the right side of the page.
Okay.
It was.
You see it here? Do you see it anywhere? His hypothesis as to why the bears' arteries do not harden. If you don't see it, don't worry about it.
The very fat bears for humans. It's a recipe for hardened arteries, putting people at risk. Our bears, they have nothing. It's not clear yet how the bears keep their arteries flexible, but protective molecule.
Some protective molecule?
That could stave off hardened arteries, yeah. Protective molecule.
Look at the answer choice for 25.
D has bears,
Read
but
D.
it says a molecule that protects against hardened arteries.
Bingo. You feel pretty good about that?
Yeah.
Look at 26.
73, 76.
73 through 76?
I believe that's what it was. It might be right before that.
Check it out. 73 through 76.
No.
Read it.
It's not yet clear how the bears keep their arteries flexible, but Frober hopes to find some protective molecule that could stave off hard arteries in humans as well.
Bingo. You see how much time we save, by the way, if you can find the answer on your own?
Oh, yeah.
And you're not getting thrown off by, like, good-sounding answer choices. If you can find the evidence on your own, I really recommend it. You don't have to. You never have to. You can always just test all the answer choices. But if you're like, oh, exactly the part of the passage they're referring to, let me go find it, confirm it. Where's the evidence for it? And you can find it and confirm it with the evidence. You can feel very confident about your answers. And you save a lot of time.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not even worried about the answer choices, I think, for 25. It's just...
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. There's not. I mean, you could test, the answer for 26 too, looking for something about Frober's hypothesis, but nothing. There's nothing there except for D. Go to read 69 through 72. I want to read that because some students, I think, are tempted by that one. 69 through 72.
All right. Even healthy young adult humans can develop fatty streaks in their arteries that make the blood vessels less flexible, but the bears don't build up such artery hardening streaks.
Do we see anything there about his hypothesis as to...
Yeah, it doesn't really say anything about the hypothesis.
Why they don't. Yeah, I mean, it mentions that their arteries don't harden, but it doesn't say anything about why. So it's kind of on topic, but it doesn't answer the question. Yeah. You can see why that might be a little bit tempting.
Yeah, for sure.
26 is D. Excellent. Okay. Go ahead and read question number 27. We're almost done with this.
All right. What information discussed in paragraph 10, lines 58 through 68 is represented by the graph?
Okay. Oof. Okay, let's do this. Let's read paragraph 10, lines 58 through 68, and then we're going to study the graph and see what information is represented.
All right.
Okay. All right. In fact, actually, hold on. Let's stop. This is easy. This is better. Let's study the graph, and then we'll test the answer choices in 27. Does that make sense?
All right.
Okay. So let's study the graph. Let's just do our graph analysis method like we just did.
All right.
All right. What is the title of the graph?
I don't see it.
No. Is my video lagging a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit. Okay, there it is.
Okay.
All right. It is the total plasma cholesterol in 7 bears.
Okay. Total plasma cholesterol.
So the y-axis is milligrams or deciliters.
Yeah, that's milligrams per deciliter. That's not super clear, but milligrams is going to be like, an amount of mass, and then deciliter is volume.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, it's a density, unit of density.
Yeah.
Okay. And that ranges from like 230 to 541. Okay. Then the x-axis going left and right.
Yes. All right. So that is maximum desirable level for humans on the left side.
That's not the x-axis. It's not. In fact, that's actually on the
hibernation is on the left side and then active
right side. Yes. Gotcha. Hibernation left side, active the right side. So from a hibernation state to an active state.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And does that make sense why actually the maximum desirable level for humans is actually on the y-axis?
Oh,
because it's a value. It's like 200 or it's below 232. That's a y-axis value. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I don't see any key. There's that other information about the maximum desirable level for humans. But now let's look at the data. What trends do we see, or what conclusions can we draw?
That the hibernation has a lot more plasma cholesterol than the active.
Than the active state. Yeah.
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 Every time.
That's it. Yeah. So when they're hibernating, they've got a very, very high plasma cholesterol level. When they're actively lower plasma cholesterol level.
Right.
Okay. Let's test the answer choices. So what information discussed in paragraph 10 is represented in the graph? So let's read the information lines 58 through 62 and see if that's in the graph. 58 through 62.
Right. Um, Recent analysis revealed that Scandinavian brown bears spend the summer with plasma cholesterol levels considered high for humans. Those values then increase substantially for hibernation.
Yeah, for
For
bear. His colleagues reported.
Reported.
Yeah. Is that represented in the graph?
Yes.
Yeah. That looks pretty
good.
Yeah,
for sure.
I can't debate that. Okay, let's keep it. Go to read B, 62 through 64.
All right. Frober and his colleagues reported these very fat bears with high cholesterol also get zero exercise during hibernation.
Okay, do we see that information represented in the graph?
It doesn't say anything about exercise.
It sure doesn't, does it?
No.
So what do you think about B?
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Get rid of it. Go to read answer choice C, 64 through 65.
Right.
Lolling
about in a den pinches off blood vessels, contributing to sluggish circulation.
I think that's it. Do we see that information represented in the graph?
No.
No. It's gone. Just no. This is so easy.
Yeah.
D.
All right, 67, 68. All right. Let's see. It's a recipe for hardened arteries, putting people at risk for heart attacks and strokes.
How's that?
No.
No. No way. Just no. It's A.
It doesn't.
It's
Great.
Any questions about that?
No.
How are you starting to feel about this test, by the way?
Very comfortable with it.
Good. You should. You're doing really well. I think you've got pretty good reading skills in general, pretty good reading comprehension in general. So I think the bigger issue for you, I mean, keep looking up that vocab. You do have to boost your vocab.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking up new words too. But keep boosting that. And once you've got that down, and if you approach the questions the way you're approaching them right now, just very systematically, thinking very clearly, you're going to be in great shape. Great shape. Go to read 28 for me, please.
All right. Which statement about the effect of hibernation on the 7 bears is best supported by the graph?
Okay. Let's test the answer choice. Go and read that.
Okay. Only one of the bears did not experience an appreciative change in its total plasma cholesterol level.
Appreciable.
We weren't testing an amount of bears, so that just doesn't make sense.
Well, hold on. What does appreciable mean?
Appreciable change. What's the word? Like noticeable?
Yeah, noticeable, right? Able to be appreciated. Like so significant that you can appreciate it or notice it. They're synonymous.
Okay.
So only one of the bears did not experience an appreciable change in the total plasma cholesterol level. I'm not saying A is right, but I don't like your reasoning because I think there is a number of bears here.
Oh, is that? Oh, 7 bears. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's not appreciable.
I don't think you're not reading the question carefully. I need you to read the question one more time.
Okay. Only one of the bears did not experience an appreciable change in its total plasma cholesterol level. Appreciable change.
Only one of the bears did not experience an appreciable change, which means 6 of the bears experienced an appreciable change. Only one didn't. Does that make sense or no?
I believe so.
So, did only one of the bears not experience an appreciable change in total plasma cholesterol level? Yes or no?
I mean, there was like a big difference, but it was lower than them. But there was still a big difference between its.
For every single bear?
Not for every single bear, just that one.
There's that one. Do you see it on the graph?
Yes, the bottom one. Or
Yeah.
no, not the bottom one, the middle.
The middle one. Not a big change there. Very minor change. You see that?
Yeah.
That's almost a straight line. That might be a straight line.
Yeah. Okay. Now I see it.
I would argue A makes a lot of sense. That only one of the bears.
All
of the bears. Oh, maybe you didn't see it. Yeah, and that's tricky, right? Maybe you didn't see it.
Camouflage.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Maybe you didn't see it. Yeah, because there's a couple. I mean, there's a bunch of different horizontal lines that kind of blends into. That's interesting. I've never quite thought about that as being like almost like a visual processing issue.
Yeah, I was looking almost too hard.
That you didn't notice that one.
Yeah, I just totally skipped over it.
That's interesting. Yeah, one of them didn't. I think A looks pretty good. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Now A looks good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let's test the others. Go to read B.
Okay. Only one of the bears experienced a significant increase in its total plasma cholesterol level.
Did only one bear experience a significant increase in its total plasma cholesterol level? No, that's not true. Like 6 of them did have a big increase, at least when they were hibernating.
Yeah.
Or you can say they're all decreasing. Either way, it doesn't make a ton of sense. I don't like B. Try C.
All of the bears achieved the desirable plasma cholesterol level for humans. They did not.
No, come on. Right. Look at the chart. There's humans, all of them are way above. And here's where, like, if you read an answer choice like A, I think A, the trickiest part with A, yes, the graph is tough to read. But it's also, like, it's worded in a way that's, like, if it said one of the bears didn't experience an appreciable change, that would be easier to digest.
Yeah.
But it says only one of the bears did not experience an appreciable change.
It's kind of
it's a little bit backwards.
Bunch of words.
Yeah. You've got to kind of juggle you've just got to, like, manage that idea, process that properly. It's not easy. But even if you read it and you're like, I'm not sure what it's saying, keep it. Keep it. It might be right. It might be right. But we know it's not C. And we know it's not B. With 100% confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's why I don't mind you keeping an answer choice you're not sure about. I think it's smart.
Yeah,
because sometimes you're going to see some of the right answer choices that you're not going to be sure about. So keep it.
Okay.
All right? And at this point, if that's as far as you get, you're guessing between A and D. Wait a minute, read D. Maybe we can eliminate D. Go and read D.
The bear with the lowest total plasma cholesterol level in its active state had the highest total plasma cholesterol level during hibernation.
Okay, did the bear with the lowest plasma cholesterol level in its active state have the highest plasma cholesterol level during hibernation?
No, it did not.
No. Boy, that's easy to eliminate.
Yeah.
Boy, that's easy. A is tough to confirm.
Yeah.
But B, C, D are really easy to eliminate.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Woo. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Awesome. Man, I thought you did great work today. I thought you made some really good progress. I'm feeling good about where you're going to be at for the reading section. All right, for students watching the video for homework, you are going to have a double passage to read for homework. We'll answer all the questions together, but go ahead and actually, I may have you'll see the homework directions in the class. So check that out. I might have you doing the questions as well. But go ahead and read the two passages at the very least, and these are at the end of this PSAT practice test number 1, double passage, and we'll go over these questions at the very least at the beginning of the next section. Do you have any questions for me, Caden?
No.
Okay. Awesome work today again, and I look forward to seeing you soon, okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.